Hey folks, walk with me. All life is suffering. This is a concept that I railed against for the last 20 years or so. Obviously, I first came across this concept through reading and looking at Buddhism. And the first thing that's sort of lobbed at you is this idea that all of life is suffering. And growing up in the US, where you're taught that you can pull yourself up by your bootstraps and anything is possible, and the Christianity aspect of it all, where to me at least the concept was more along the lines of all life is beautiful and it's a gift and you should be grateful and thankful. And to name that same life as all being suffering, I thought, that's insufferable. I thought, that's so misguided. I can't even look at the rest of this. And I'm often late to the party on things. And I, 20-something years later, have come to realize the truth in that concept of all life is suffering. And let me explain why, if you are as confused or disheartened by it as I was. Suffering, the idea that suffering can be just sort of boxed up, set aside, put on the back burner, that you can either joy your way out of suffering or that you can vice your way out of it, meaning you can drink it away, you can smoke it away, you can shop it away, you can work it away. These are the things that will actually become the struggle in your life. The things that you use to try to sort of put aside or outshine the suffering. The suffering is something to befriend. It's something to allow in and to make space for. And to say, hello, suffering. I know you're here. I see you. Let me hold you. And let me find out why you're here. And in this way, sort of sitting with it and going through it is going to allow you to accept your suffering, to maybe heal from your suffering, to provide you with some perspective or repair. There's some agent there that is restorative. And that could take different shapes. Like I said, maybe that means you have a different perspective on it. Maybe that means it's a wound of some sort that you can actually heal from and let go. And probably a dozen or 50 dozen more options and permutations of that. But to find something, like we talked about, workaholic, shopaholic, alcoholic, drugaholic, and again, probably 50 dozen other things that you can do to try to just put it aside. Say, oh, that's not there. Let me do this instead. This will make it go away. Right? There is no go away. The suffering is there. And to honor the suffering and to invite it in and to find out what it is, to almost meet it like it's a new member of your family, is going to cause you less problems. It's going to feel harder for an initial period of time, but it is going to give you the longest period of, I'm reluctant to say relief from it because I don't want to pretend like that's the goal or something, but it'll give you an extended relief in the sense of it's going to keep happening. It's going to keep coming. It's going to take, again, different shapes, and suffering is going to come to you in different ways. And so if you can attune yourself at some point, and it doesn't have to be early on, right? Maybe you've done this, maybe you've tried to escape this or addict your way out of it for 30 years or 50 years or whatever. But if there can come a point in time where you say, oh, I'm going to do this differently, it will not only benefit you at that juncture with that suffering, but it will influence the future suffering. You will see it come up again, in whatever the future suffering is. And that's why, to me, it is important, because it is the thing that we most try to distance ourselves from, the thing that we try to put in a lockbox and throw it off a cliff. And say, you're far away and you're never coming back out. But we know that that's not true. Eventually you live long enough to know that that's not true. Because you can do that for, in some cases, a long time. But then it comes and comes and comes. And it's your view of it as a bad thing, as something that needs to be shuttered, closed off, put away, never to be seen or heard from again. It is that desire that is going to cause you more distress and pain than the suffering, whatever the initial suffering was. The last thing that I will say, that was the most important thing. This is a video where I actually didn't bury the lead. Yay! The other thing that I'll say about it is, this being the opening volley in Buddhism, I've come to understand that because there is such a want and a desire, and people's minds are often nurtured in such a way to think, again, along the lines of life is joy, life is a gift, you should be grateful for it, and get all the suffering out of there, right? Anything that feels like pain, get it away. Don't deal with it. Because that's the case, the Buddha put out an equally but opposite extreme statement, right? That statement of it's a joy, it's a gift, it's gratitude only, and everything else has to just be set aside, put away, locked up, and thrown off a cliff. Because that is so extreme, the Buddha did and said the other extreme, all life is suffering, right? That's not true. But in an attempt and in a hope to find the middle way, there is a need to balance out one extreme with the other extreme. And so this is him, tossing that Molotov cocktail saying, okay, you all think it's way, way, way off in this direction. I'm going to tell you it's way, way off in that direction. And just know if you're dead in the middle of those things, that's actually where it is. It is yes and. It is a gift and it is joy. And it is all suffering. So if this has prevented you from looking further into the teachings, into the philosophy, the ongoing dialogue that is Buddhism, see if this helps. This helped me tremendously. Whoa. And I'm going to need both hands here to get up this little hill. It's very icy here at the moment. It's not a big hill. Okay, we made it. But if this has prevented you maybe this is an opportunity to see if what I presented here sits differently with you and sits with you in a way that allows you to reinitiate with the Buddhist philosophy and see if you can get beyond that initial like, whoa, hold on, man. I don't want to just think all life is suffering. That sucks. So, all right, well, if you watched thus far or walked with me thus far, I really appreciate it. And as always, I will see you in the next video.